Hi, I'm Princess India, and these are whatever animal ears these are. And I'm here with your September mid-month special announcement. You are not grieving the loss of them. You are grieving the loss of who you wish they were. This has been a public service announcement. And the intro's coming right.
Why love superficially when we can go from hello to epitome, manifesting destiny.
Virgo. Welcome to your September mid-month reading. I'm Princess India. Welcome to subscribers. So you guys are second to last before Cappy's, you know. Got 2 earth signs at the bottom. My sign was not one of them. Thank goodness. But we're doing things a tad bit different. Aside from the fact that we're sitting in my dining room, that's another thing that's different. I've been hopping around. I've been in my office. I've been everywhere. But anywho, I don't know, I kind of dig this. I'm realizing, like, I don't know, I feel more full range of motion. But anyway, this is you guys September mid-month. It's general. We're looking at general energies that you guys are facing the end of September going into October. So anything that's of importance to you guys, anything that you need to know, challenges you'll be facing in your actions going forward, and we're sorry, it's my shuffling cards face. We're also going to pick 2 oracle cards at the end from the Chakra Oracle deck, as well as the Work Your Light deck. You know what I'm saying? Did I tell you about the spread? Yeah. If I did, I'm sorry. I'm about to repeat myself. But anywho, so with the spread, let me close this laptop because those 2 videos are finished uploading. Oh, shucky ducky. So anywho, we're going to be looking at you guys. Man, those screens are so distracting. Like, I feel more focused now that I put the screen down. But anyway, we're going to be looking at you guys' mental space, your environment, your physical body, as well as your spiritual / emotional space going into October, and any challenges that you guys may face, as well as actions forward to overcome said challenges. And it's like I'm shuffling the crap out of this deck because everybody and their mom was getting all the same cards, but I mean, that's nothing new. One of my friends, a Pisces, told me today, she's like, well, I mean, we're all connected. What do you expect? I was like, look, Pisces, stop being all Pisces-like. Of course you guys are going to get the same cards. We're all soul family. I was like, Pisces. I love Pisces, though. But it's very interesting to be ending with 2 earth signs, so I'm going to feel hella grounded and eat the crap out of this chicken Alfredo that I made. These things bring me joy in life, Virgo. Okay. Are you serious? I was going to shuffle it one more time, but I feel like I need to stop, so I'm going to stop. That creeped me out. Is that the wire? Is it my... I'm not even gonna say that. Oh my god. My butt is too little for these things. Oh jeez. Let me lay out you guys' spread. Alright, so the first card that we have for Virgos, I'm gonna embarrass myself just now. Anyway, I'm sure that these are problems that girls with bigger butts have, but, you know, I was just like, oh my gosh, was that like my butt? And then I was like, oh no, that's like the back of the chair because you don't have a butt, princess. Anyway, so you guys' mental space, we have the Devil card. Man, so you guys are kind of grappling with something. And feeling kind of disempowered in a sense, like out of control, so to speak. And then in you guys' physical environment, we have the 8 of Cups. So it's more or less wanting to cut ties with something that you're very clear is no longer serving you and you're serving it. And I feel the need to say this because I feel like, because I said this with somebody, I don't remember. I think I might have said it in the live, but it's more or less like, okay, things in life, whether it's rituals or tools or policies, procedures, so on and so forth, these things are created in order to be of service to humanity, right? So even like with your cell phone, right? Your cell phone is to be of service to you, not you be serving it, where feeling the need to check my email, check my text, this and that. It's like when you feel like you're almost doing it second nature, that's when it stops being of service to you and you're of service to it. So that could be with anything. You know what I mean? When you, and I talked about this with Sagittarius too, it's like things become like they step into the realm of the devil energy when they're devoid of spirit, meaning the inspiration or the passion that ignited you in the beginning. So when it shifts into you just going through the motions and feeling as if you have to from like a sensory space instead of like an inspired, like heartfelt space, that's when you're stepping into the devil energy and you're no longer in control. It's in control of you, right? And I kind of talked about that with Gemini as well. So if there is in any way that you're kind of sensing this, I see that you guys like legit are kind of cutting ties with that. So I feel like you guys are coming into the awareness, or it's being revealed to you now, where you're starting to see this negative correlation between you and whatever this is, right? That's like a block that's holding you back, that you've lost control of or what have you. But I see that you guys are getting clear on that and you're walking away from it. So it's wanting now to come into alignment with either being reintroduced to this thing that you got kind of out of control of and having like some restrictions, or it's just moving on and completely leaving this behind. So possibly this could be like a toxic relationship. You know what I mean? It could be a toxic relationship or a relation to something that you're finding now is toxic, but it's wanting to move into something that's more fulfilling, or something that's giving back to you. So it's more or less like leaving out of an energy that was more or less depleting you and into something that's going to pour into you equally, right? Now, in your spiritual and emotional space, we have the Justice card, which is super dope. Of course, this could be a Capricorn person. Of course, this could be a Leo. Freudian slip, a Libra person. And this is a theme that's been coming up, this whole weighing things out, in this clear and decisive action, standing in our truth, enacting our truth. That has most certainly been one of the many themes that have been coming up the end of this month, right? But it's you guys more or less stepping into something that's more in alignment with you, standing in a place of power and now being the gatekeeper to your own life. So that's like setting boundaries. So in the event that this is a toxic relationship, it's you seeing that I'm pouring more into this than it's pouring into me, or it's not pouring into me at all, it's depleting me of my resources. We're not doing that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we're moving forward, and now I'm going to be like judge, jury, executioner of my own life. So it's me seeing what your intentions are, standing firm in my truth, and allowing my truth to cut out the fluff that I don't feel is in alignment with me, right? So then when we look at our challenges, the first card that we have, ain't that something? Is the Six of Pentacles. So that's our little reciprocity card, you know what I'm saying? Then we have the Strength card. Well, there's our Leo. And then we have the Hermit, which is you guys, Virgo. You guys got a lot of major arcanas going on here. So the thing that I'm seeing here, guys, is more or less like wanting to come into balance. So like I said, with the Justice card, it's like, weighing it out, seeing if this is in alignment with me and enacting my truth. But the central focus going into October is you guys implementing self-control, right? So this is legit something that is unequal, right? So it's you guys finding balance and being able to be, like I said, gatekeeper is a perfect word. It's like you're being your own protector, but I see that more or less as you establishing boundaries. So you defining like clear lines, drawing a line in the sand, and pretty much you being your own protector in the sense that you're saying, like, this is not gonna happen. So in the event that this is about a relationship, it's like you coming out of agreement with the way that things have been, which in the past was toxic because it was unequal. So it was depleting you, right? So it's now you realizing, like, okay, I was a part of this. This isn't serving me. I'm coming out of agreement with this. I'm coming into alignment with what it is that I want, or what it is that will serve me, or something that I feel that's more suitable, right? But you also understand that at the heart of this, it's going to require self-control. You know what I mean? So it's in so many ways, and I kind of said this with, I don't remember who that was. Somebody who had the 5 of Wands. Leo. Whoa. Okay. Yes, I said this to Leo. But so I was pretty much saying with them was the fact that the conflict that they were experiencing in their external life was a mirror reflection of what was going on inside of them, right? So it was like them projecting this conflict with other people because they were in conflict with themselves, right? So I'm seeing kind of like the same essence for you guys. So it's realizing, like, when you kind of step out of the situation and you get clear, it's like, yo, and I talk about this in my book too, of like how relationships are toxic is because it's like two people are feeding into each other's like shadow self, right? To each other's lower self. So it's seeing the personal accountability and responsibility that you have for the part that you played and how things got kind of uneven. And the fact that this person was a taker and you were a giver and you gave way too much. So that means now I need to implement self-control and cultivate strength within, and the fact that I need to set boundaries with myself. So I need to say, okay, said this in another person's reading, I'm no longer going to give from my reserves. I'm going to give from my overflow. If I don't have overflow, then I really can't help you because this is all I really have, right? So it's like you guys no longer self-compromising. So the main things that you guys are going to be tasked with overcoming this month is, in one respect, in order for you to enact this sword of truth, you first want to find out what your truth is with G Hermit, right? You want to know what your truth is. What are you standing firm on? What are your passions? What are your convictions? Like, what does your like soul bleed for on some stuff? Like, what are you passionate about? What is your life about? What are you about? You know what I mean? Why is it that you struggle with setting personal boundaries, or why is it that you've had trouble implementing self-control? What were you really trying to get out of this, right? And that's what I really feel like the theme is wrapping up this month, is being clear and true about your motives, whatever they are. It's like shining the light on them just so we know that they're there. Doesn't mean that you have to reach mastery. Doesn't mean that you have to figure this all out by tomorrow or by the 1st of October. It's just the fact of just being aware. I have a tendency to do this and I need to be clear of that. So if I don't know how yet to establish those boundaries or how to implement that self-control, at least I'm cognizant and aware. So when I find myself in these situations, I can kind of catch it. You know what I mean? So it's you guys figuring out your truth. What is it that you want to stand firm on wholeheartedly? Self-control as well as balance, and knowing that that's okay, and being able to determine when you're giving too much, and if something isn't in alignment with you, it's okay for you to walk away, even if it's just temporary. Now, our actions moving forward, we have the 2 of Wands, yet another card that keeps making an appearance. We have the Tower. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And we have the 4 of Wands. Oh yeah. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. Your actions moving forward is you guys more or less like opening up to this truth and being able to walk through this gateway and leaving the past behind you. So it's more or less like, man, this is like a lot of like releasing old habits and stuff. So this old way of being is being left in the path, in the past. We're leaving that behind and we're taking a step forward, because it's almost like the red carpet is being laid out for you if you do this work, right? And then it's like with the Tower, and I've been saying this all month, ego death, you know what I'm saying? So it's more or less like these false identities or false ways of being, or, you know, the puffed up ego that we've created in order to protect ourselves or to navigate through life, right? Because we just figured that that worked. It's like these old ways of being are no longer serving you and no longer working. So whether this is in a catastrophic sense of like spirit, like course correcting, but I really don't feel like this is something that's a shock. I feel like you guys more or less were like, hey, this is the tower, hit it, knock it down. You know what I mean? And I feel like that was done here, you know? Because it's, you guys have been in a stagnant energy because of this toxicity. And it's like you guys almost feeling like, I really don't know what the next step is, but I just can't do this anymore. You know, I don't even care what the next step is. I just know I can't do this no more. So the only thing that I need is my truth, my passion, and my desire to move forward, and knowing that I don't want to live this way anymore. You know what I mean? And I know that sounds like super like, I don't want to live this way anymore, but it doesn't have to be that serious. It's just whatever you're engaging in, it's like, I can't do this anymore, right? So it's taking this opportunity to step out of alignment, to allow whatever needs to fall away or whoever you need to release, so that you can have this happiness and harmony. But the beautiful thing about this is I see you guys in the driver's seat, Virgo. So this isn't something where, you know, spirit's just like, poof, pow, surprise, here you go. It's like, nah, even though you guys may not fully understand the whole picture, it's just that burning feeling in your heart. Spirit hears that and is bringing things into alignment for you. So I want to say that it's more or less like a reassurance. Just you guys kind of picking up on these things like, this isn't okay. I don't want this. I don't know what the steps are, but I don't want that. Just making that decision and focusing on what is within your realm of control right now, which is, it's weird. Focusing within your realm of control. I've been hearing stuff like all these readings that I've been doing. But anyway, focusing on what's within your realm of control right now, which is the Strength card. Like, you have control over yourself. And if that's all you can do right now, Spirit is saying that is enough. Dadgummit, son of a gun, I said. So now on to our oracles. So Spirit, what additional guidance can you give us for Virgo, leaving out of September and going into October? Any additional guidance that they can utilize to, okay, and we have another card. That's the, okay, 2 cards. Seems like every time it falls on the floor, you guys get 2 cards. All right, let me get your chakra card. All right, Spirit, let me get 1 chakra oracle card for my Virgos. Okay, going into October. Anything that they need to know. Give us a super dope story and don't give us one we got already. 1 card only. This little Mountain Dew juice stuff like works, man, because it was late as all malarkey and I'm like legit feeling chipper right now. All right, Spirit, give me 1 card for Virgos, please. Okay, and we're gonna go with that one. Interesting. Okay, so our first 2, the first one we have is, you're already doing it. I agree. I totally agree. Stop overthinking. Keep facing your true north. Freaking dope, yo. Freaking dope. That's what I like, how things kind of sum up when I say things in like a bazillion words and they can say it in like 4. It's like you're already doing it. It's like you're drawing all of this in to cultivate this balanced, harmonious, you know, 11-11 twin flaming synchronicity type of thing going on here. Unification within self. Just by you taking the simple act of noticing that there was a problem and solving it by knowing that all I control is myself. That's all I have control over. And I'm just going to do what I know, you know? Gangster. Next one is awakening. Ooh, shucky ducky now. Energetic upgrades, a new way of being, integration. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Okay, that might have made the mic do crazy stuff, but whatever. Oh my gosh, dude. This is legit. If you want to know the whole sum up of how I see twin flames, this is it. It's the awakening, you know? Gates, man, gatekeeper, man, walking away from no longer serving you, freaking toxicity, a little bit of reciprocity up in this piece. Yes, man. Virgos, y'all are like legit in a dope place. I kid you not. Literally, the integration is the integration within self of the divine masculine and feminine. And mind you, last chapter of my book is called The Hermit Effect. So it's going on this journey to unearth this deeper truth about what all of this is about. So it's like you guys awakening to what it is that the hermit knows. You know what I'm saying? Shining that light of truth. So it's you guys like ascending to this higher state of being. So welcome to the club, you know, all that great stuff. Because I think that's so beautiful. I really believe that whole, you know, person, oh, with the battery, I thought I was doing good. Dang, man, it's some good, stupid battery. But anyway, I need to get a juice pack. Is that what you call those things? Anyway, but yeah, man, so you guys are like awakening to this higher state of being. And just to kind of simplify everything, when people think about the whole like enlightenment path and everything, I honestly believe that the whole twin flame situation, just even thinking that you're in a twin flame union that has, you know, symptoms of toxicity, that's like that sign that things are going to start unfolding you to lead you to this path. You know what I mean? But the whole thing is that we're seeking this counterpart, we're seeking this person to fill this void in us. But the thing that we must realize is that the thing you've been looking for, or the person you've been looking for your whole life, is you. You are who you have been looking for. You know what I mean? And that sounds like cray because it's like, well, I can't lay next to myself in bed. This is true. You cannot. But attracting what you are, you knowing what you know and ascending to this higher state of being and being in alignment, you can now draw in someone who's on that same frequency as you, as opposed to somebody who half-assing it, because ain't nobody got time for that. Just saying. So anyway, these cards get straight to the heart of the matter. This is yet another card about integration. It's the facade, and your focus is your solar plexus chakra. And just because, you know, I like reading, I'm just going to read everything for you guys too. All the other signs are going to be so mad at me because everybody else got the longer stories. Maybe I'll make a video just with the stories. But anyway, story time. Let's see, hither. Facade. Personal comfort comes with this metallic energy and a deep need to discover your true self. Earthly values and care for others are also represented. Being cut off from feelings may be a challenge. Recover who you are and rethink your journey. You need to read my book. I'm just going to say that. That is exactly what my book is all about. It's about recovering the authentic self that was left behind long ago, you know? So here's the whole little ditty. It says, this isn't who I am. The life that was never intended to belong to you, right? The false self that was built up. Now, the legend. The Bronze Boy. Darnell was young. I hate that. Sorry, y'all. There's certain names that I just say like that. And Darnell is one of those names. I always sound like I'm fussing. It's like Darnell. Anyway, the Bronze Boy. Darnell was young when his father died, and he became the man of the family. Out for a walk one day many years later, he was mesmerized by the sight of children playing. As a child, he never played. He hid behind a tree, crying bitterly, then quickly buried his emotions. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to be holding this while I'm reading it. Illustrativeness. Okay, wait. Oh, there we go. All right. Then quickly buried his emotions. At the very end of his life, on his way to heaven, he stopped at the park and finally reclaimed the inner child he had left behind many years ago. Inspiration. If you are unhappy in your relationships, you may be relating to others through a false sense of duty. Codependency. Hashtag. Give up being something you're not. Personal inquiry. Bronze God is about reclaiming life. What have I done to heal my childhood pain? Key ideas. Disassociating from yourself, reclaiming your life, healing childhood pain. Yeah, you got to read my book. For real. Because that is what it's all about, boo. But for real, dude, that integration with self, you know what I mean? It's going back to reclaim the forsaken facet of yourself that you hid for whatever reason. Because, you know, if we got a negative reaction from other people being who we were when we were younger, it's like we kind of hide that and we cover that up and we start identifying with people in whatever way served us as a kid. So for some of us, where codependency comes from is because, you know, we realize being the good girl or the good boy is what got our needs met. So we found that if we were fully available to people, if I give, then they'll pay attention to me, then they'll love me, then they'll support me, then they'll be there for me. So that's something we kind of carry on into adulthood, and we start showing up in our relationships that way. But what ends up happening is we find ourselves extremely emotionally unfulfilled because, you know, our old way of relating to people isn't working anymore. Now, where this can become dangerous is because it becomes a gateway to resentment and bitterness, because we're always giving with the intention of the person one day reciprocating everything that we're investing into them. But a lot of times we're dealing with people who are the polar opposite of us, who are only taking and they're never going to give. So then you find yourself being bitter or embittered. Makes me sound smart. Being embittered, your heart is hardened. You know what I mean? You stop being optimistic. You stop believing the good in life. You become very cynical and suspicious of people's motives. You know what I mean? And not necessarily able to be optimistic. So the key is here is to shine the light on where this, you know, and if it has gotten to a point of bitterness or cynicism, it's finding that root and going back and recovering that facet of the self, right? And integrating that into your being. All of those pieces of yourself that were left behind after every relationship or every disappointment, it's taking all of those pieces and reintegrating them, because there was never anything wrong with those facets of you. These are just people that you encountered, and the purpose of it was to gain a lesson from the experience and the interaction, not to chop away pieces of yourself. So it's time to regain all of those pieces, put them together so you can heal it. It makes me think of those little teacups in China. Yeah, I think that's China. But it's like when things break, they meld it back together with gold. You know what I mean? And then there was a quote that I wrote about that, but I can't remember it word for word verbatim, and I hate when I misquote myself because I feel like so much is missing. But I said something along the lines of, I've always been intrigued by broken things because I've always felt that they had more character. You know what I mean? I look at human beings as walking mosaics. Every single experience, every single pain, every single triumph that you've endured in your life has made you the beautiful mosaic that you are, and I honor that as you being an individual. And that's the most important part, I think, of us engaging with each other, because no matter how much we're similar, it's just the integration of those pieces will always be unique. Like, there will never be another you. So it's imperative that you want to show up in life with all of those facets, all that beauty of who you are. That's why I tell people I celebrate my traumas, because had it not been for them, I wouldn't be who it is that I am today. You know what I mean? It'd be kind of bland, kind of vanilla. Hashtag vanilla. Even though Bluebell vanilla is very delicious. But anyway, yeah, man. So it's the self-control is your first step. Don't worry yourself too much, because the way that it's looking is like you have initiated this. So everything that's going to fall into place is you just taking this step. Self-control. But most certainly, read up on codependency. Check out my book. And I don't know. I don't want to say, well, I mean, you could do a little, you could go to therapy if you need to, but you can also do, because, you know, there's meditations that you can do to heal inner child wounds if this is something that you're kind of cognizant about already. Like if this has kind of been picking on your heart and you know that. But anywho, if you have any questions, you know where to find me. But I love your face, Virgo. You know what I'm saying? One more sign and I get to eat pasta. I reward myself with food when I get things done, you know? But anywho, that has been your September mid-month reading. I hope that that was helpful. I love your faces, and I'm going to see you in October, and that's not that far from now. Hashtag my favorite month. Hashtag Halloween. Hashtag Samhain. Love your face. Deuces.
Why love superficially?